have an exam tomorrow. We have a lot of things to discuss at once. You'll need your study guide, 6.3 and 6.4 today. Please bring out those three things quickly while I take attendance. I said study guide, 6.3 and 6.4. Akiri, John Windsor, here. Oh, hey buddy. All right. Oh. Michael Van Duh. I'm really glad we have a seating chart. It sure makes this easy. Gavin Gerke. First of all, is there any response to last night's after-school environmental film?
Really well done.
Well done. Anybody else? As I said on the bottom of the handout in class, I consider that movie to be both painfully close to my own past and also factually a little bit overwhelming. I know that a lot of people found it hard to keep up with the movie, so I thought I'd let you know that it's available free on YouTube if you don't mind a few commercial interruptions. It's kind of awkward when you're watching a baby die and then they come and sell you M&Ms. Yeah. But anyway, you can still see it for free on YouTube. It's called The End of Poverty ? Your loser essays are due today, but rather than collect them and waste study time, I'd like you to turn them in with your packet tomorrow. If you have a loser essay, please turn it in tomorrow with your homework packet. Remember that the Unit 6 exam is tomorrow. The winter break reading quiz is the Monday immediately after the break. The makeup for both of these will be Tuesday, January the 8th. Are there any questions about any of that stuff?
Well, yeah. Was there a sheet you want to bring anything about it?
It's in the Unit 5 page of my school website, and that has a list of books. Also, many students who've already chosen their book may be able to give you their. Anything else about the things I just said? If we're truly done with that, I really want to focus for tomorrow's exam, but I need to make myself available for those other big issues. Are you sure there's no other questions that you need help with? All right. Let's get ready for the exam. I'd like to start first with the study guide. I'm going to go in order. So we'll start at the very top of the study guide and work all the way through, putting stars along the way, beginning with the vocabulary in 6.1. If you don't have the study guide, it will be more difficult to keep up with this. And remember, a video of today's lecture should be posted on YouTube, and there will be linking information available on Facebook. Okay. Stars. All the limiting factor terms, they're not complicated, it's not fancy, there's no trick to this question, but those are terms that the College Board likes you to know. So extrinsic and intrinsic, biotic, abiotic, density dependent, and density independent. Can someone pass this back to Caroline? In the next, and by the way, since we're talking about tomorrow's exam, I thought I'd give you one freebie. There is some math stuff on this exam. Not necessarily specific types of equations, but you should know, as I've warned you in the past, scientific notation, percentages, fractions. Just in looking over the papers when I was making photocopies, I realized, maybe I should give the kids a little heads up, but there will be a little bit of math in this one. So remember, you should, of course, as I've warned you already, practice your math skills. If you are kind of weak on math, I'll give you a big hint. Do a little bit of Google searching for scientific notation practice problems. Okay. At the end of the 6.2 vocab, we added a few: pandemic, zoogenic, and emergent diseases. Those are all increasingly common terms because our planet is increasingly concerned with disease transmission. In assignment 6.3, the toxin terms like carcinogen, mutagen, teratogen, and allergen. Point sources, non-point sources, area sources, and global sources. College Board seems to love those. Nothing tricky about it. Did we discuss yesterday methylation? That's a critical term, and just so you know, it'll come up in numbers 33 and 57, which we will discuss at greater length in a few minutes. The grasshopper effect gets a star and came up in study goal 32. LD50. The College Board always asks about LD50. If there is anything tricky, it is the concept of why we target the 50% mark. Remember, that helps us identify the average. Detoxification gets 1 star simply because a lot of students don't realize the difference between scientifically valid detox and make-believe detox. Quickly, I'd like to clarify. When a scientist says detoxification, they're talking about physically or chemically removing pollution from water, soil, or air. Scientists do detox groundwater, they detox lakes, they detox fields, and that is scientifically a well-known, well-studied, often practiced procedure. But when you hear about detox diet, the idea that your cells have accumulated toxic ingredients and somehow by drinking lemon juice and cat litter you can get it out of your body, that is, scientifically speaking, 100% mumbo jumbo. There is basically no way to make your cells purge toxins. There is no doubt our bodies have an exceptionally high burden of toxins. We know that that is true. Remember, your cells evolved in a very simple and clean world. They were like the airlines in the 1950s, not that picky. Like airline security, your cells were like, oh, sure, come on board, who cares? Nowadays, our world is increasingly toxic and our cells are still stupid. So nowadays, a lot of the stuff going into your cells is not good for you. There is no doubt your bodies are accumulating tremendous body burden of toxins. The one thing that you have to be really clear on, there's not really any yucky stuff you can drink that's going to somehow make your cells smarter and purge their toxins. In extremely limited cases, there are a few specific toxins that you can chemically remove from your cells, but these examples are so obscure and so rare that it's safer for you to think whenever you hear of any sort of cellular or internal detox, that's BS, mumbo jumbo. You can make yourself vomit and you can make yourself poo. But once toxins have entered your cells, you really cannot trick your cells, all few trillion of them, to somehow pick out that one bad ingredient and spit it back out to your urine somehow. There's a huge economic sector that keeps convincing people that this particular weird recipe plus tea plus fasting plus headstands is going to somehow clean your cells. Don't fall for it. And how many of your parents do detox diets? Have pity on them, they just don't know better. Okay.
Some of that stuff gets really weird, like the seaweed that you like kind of pull it out.
Yeah, you can eat the cotton and pull it through.
Yeah.
That, like that actually does scrape off some stuff inside your digestive system. Probably not healthy because most of that mucus is protected.
Yeah.
But like I said, you can purge your digestive system in a number of ways. One of them is just to like poke yourself or whatever. But that has nothing to do with detoxification. Okay. Bioremediation and phytoremediation each get 1 star. Acute and chronic effects get 1 star. Subsidence gets 1 star. And while I'm on that, I'd like to quickly define it. Remember this. Fast-moving water can carry school buses and houses and your mama. Slower-moving water will have those heavy things settle, but slower-moving water can still carry sheets of paper and leaves and little sailboats made by children. Slower-moving water would let those big things settle, but can still carry sediment. And remember, some places have dirt that is sediment. At a river mouth, like New Orleans, the Mississippi River mouth, or the city of Venice, Italy, at the river mouth, those cities are built up on river sediment. It's really fine soil. So here's why that matters. Water's moving underneath your feet right now. And if you were living right on the coast, that water moving underneath your feet would carry really small particles like the ground underneath your feet. So cities like New Orleans and Venice are literally sinking into the ground because they're built out of soil that's really, really fine. And as that groundwater scoots through the earth, it takes away the ground from underneath your feet, and the city literally sinks. It's called subsidence.
Does the building of the cities like exacerbate
the building of the cities makes them heavier, which probably pins down the dirt a little bit more. What does make subsidence worse is that most of these cities do not have natural renewal of that material. Because they're floodplains, they are naturally subsiding, but without a city, the occasional flood would add some more on top. So that subsides, and then you get another flood. And then that subsides, and you get another flood. The thing that happens when you build your city is you prevent the flooding. So you still have the subsiding problem, but you no longer get the renewal. So urbanizing then does make subsidence worse, but not because the sinking is worse, because you've prevented the recovery. Finally, in the vocab, direct and indirect effects of disasters. Remember that indirect effects are often deadlier than direct effects. So in New Orleans, the actual hurricane killed a lot of people, but then the water quality issues, the lack of access to food and water, people getting stranded, that was much deadlier. Indirect effects are often much worse than the direct effects of natural events. Moving on to study goals. Number 1 gets a star. Number 3 gets a star. Number 6 gets a star. Number 8 gets a star. Number 9 gets a star. 11 gets a star. 17 gets a star. 18 are, and in number 8.